Hi guys, I'm Sherry and this is Gardening in the North. I did not have any plans on videoing anything today. So I am the kind of person that has a list, a to-do list. I, leave it on the counter, and as I work through my list, I check things off and I feel real good. And, it's also my reason for going into the house and drinking more coffee. So for any of you that know me, know that that is absolutely true. However, I came out today and came out to the garden today. I was going to start cleaning up a lot of my tomato plants and my pepper plants, and really thought, oh my God, this is really embarrassing. This is so embarrassing that I've allowed my garden to look like this. It obviously doesn't look lush. I mean, if I just spin around, look at these horrible tomato plants and what I've allowed them to look like. It is extremely embarrassing. If somebody came to my house and wanted to look at my garden space, I would be embarrassed. And so I thought, why not video it? Why not video it and show all of you what my garden currently looks like, and share with you that I think this is normal. I think that, as gardeners, we have the best intentions on cleaning up our garden, getting it ready so that next year, spring 2021, we can, bring out our cute little seedlings and start planting them, watching them grow. And so we want to clean up the garden in order to be able to do that. But life happens. Life gets in the way. Other projects get in the way. And let's be honest here, we need to take time to ourselves as well. And so a lot of things have been going on. I've been working on the food forest. I've cleaned out the majority of the raised bed gardens. I've cleaned out the gardens around the pool fence. I've planted a lot of garlic. So I've been busy and really neglected cleaning up my hill garden. So I'm just going to take you around quickly. I'm going to show you kind of what's going on, what I'm going to be working on today. And then I'm going to bring you back tomorrow, where I'm going to show you how I'm going to seed save some of my mint. I'm going to be harvesting my kohlrabi, and I'm going to show you how I make kohlrabi chips. So if you like salty snacks, stick around. If you don't like salty snacks, still stick around. I really want to give you a good span of what the hill garden looks like. And so you can see the asparagus ferns way over there at the end. In front of them is where I had my onions. And then in front of the onions is where I had my zucchinis. Right here in front of me is where I had my black bean plants. And so if any of you have watched my black bean plant video, you'll know that I have this trellis system here in the hopes that some of those plants would have given me runners and they would have filled up the trellis. That didn't happen, unfortunately. And then here are my pepper plants. Sad little pepper plants. Now, I do want to point out this really gorgeous asparagus fern that is right behind the pepper plants and essentially right in the middle of where I had my acorn squash growing. Now, the reason that I have this lone asparagus plant there is because I originally had an apple tree planted there in this area before I expanded out the garden. And I was told that if you plant asparagus near your fruit trees, that it will keep the rabbits away from, bothering the bark and really destroying that tree. And so I did that, and it never grew. This year, however, after I removed the apple tree and put it in the front area, it decided that it was going to grow. Like every year, something pretty cool happens in my garden. So now in the middle of my acorn patch here, I'm going to have my asparagus plant growing. Okay, so this is the embarrassing part. All of these tomato plants, when they were thriving and lush and green, they were taller than the trellis system that I have set up here. And so one thing I want to point out to you is that right here in this area, I've used 2 different types of tomato trellising ideas. And the first one in the front is the Florida weave. And you can see that I still have the ropes going across, holding up all those plants. And in the back, I used something very similar to cattle panel. They're not as long as cattle panels. These ones are only about 7 feet long. And they're actually the wired mesh that you would use if you were doing cement flooring. And you can get those at any Home Hardware, Home Depot for about, I think it was about $15. Okay, so here are the rest of my pepper plants that need to be taken care of. The interesting thing about my garden right now is that all of the greenery that is coming out of the ground is comfrey. Like this plant is so hardy. You can see the green over there. And if I span back to where the acorn squash were, the 3 green patches that you see there, that's comfrey as well. Like this plant is truly, truly amazing at the fact that it is basically frost hardy. Like we've had a couple frosts already. Right. And then at the bottom of where I had done my onions, I have some tomatoes. These plants here were actually extras that I had as well, and kind of just threw them in. Now you can see down here the green onions. These are actually Egyptian walking onions, and they're just at the end of their time right now. So if I go back here through these tomatoes, you can see that these tomatoes back here are not doing well either. Everything is so yucky and brown. So I'm going to be pulling out all of these tomato plants. I'm going to be removing my cute little signs that I've put up everywhere and just really cleaning it up so that I can have a clean slate in the spring. So the big question is, does your garden look like this? Do you often have the best intentions on coming out to your garden and making it pristine looking, and then life takes over? This is my garden. This is my reality. Today is a really nice day, so I'm going to spend time out here, you know, really cleaning it up and getting it to a better place than what it is right now. To a place where I can, you know, be inside on those cold days and I can start planning what I'm going to plant here next year. So this is the second time that I've pulled my camera out today, and I wasn't planning on videoing till tomorrow. But one of the things that I wanted to mention to you when I was pulling out my tomato plants is that you want to be super careful with what you do with them. And what I mean is you want to make sure that you're not throwing those tomato plants into your compost bin, into your compost pile, or even burying them in your garden. And so what I mean by that is sometimes people will actually bury them in the actual soil that they're going to be planting new plants in next year. And you don't want to do this. In my opinion, you don't want to do this. And the reason I say that is because tomato plants are so susceptible to getting soil diseases. any kind of soil disease that is going to happen in your soil, that tomato plant is probably going to get it. And not everyone is going to get it, but you can't know if your plants have it or don't have it. And so you want to be extremely careful what you're doing with them. I've mentioned in a couple other videos that I usually make a pile and then I burn mine. So if you are able to do that, then that's great. Otherwise, you could take them to your local dump and get rid of them. I would just strongly urge you not to throw them in your compost pile. Now, as I mentioned, I brought my camera out for a second time, except that my tripod is dead and I have my phone set up on my gardening gloves. So what I want to show you is that I am at the beginning of my food forest right now, and I didn't have any plans to work on the food forest. I have done stages 1, 2, and 3. I put videos out on them already. The last video being that I transplanted a bunch of perennials that I already had into my food forest. And really the next steps for the food forest are to plant fruit trees. Now I've already ordered some. I have a list of other ones that I want to get. So really that was all going to take place in the spring. However, as I'm thinking about the food forest and what I actually want to put in it, I realized that I want to get some areas ready. So I'm out here again, laying down cardboard and laying down wood chips. I think I have an issue now. I think that I need someone to stop me or my whole front lawn is going to be food forest. Take a look. Okay, so this is the beginning of the food forest, and it's basically in the middle. I've started the food forest in the middle of my front yard. Now you can see here where I'm putting down the new cardboard that, you know, there's space in between the Empire fruit tree and the Jonah Gold apple tree. Now, my thoughts are that I might as well fill this area in with cardboard and wood chips so that when the strawberries start growing, I can actually direct them this way. And this means that we don't need to cut the grass in between the food forest and the hedges. So I brought you back like I promised, and today we're going to be saving seeds from mint, my mojito mint, as well as making kohlrabi chips. So I just want you to take a look at my mint plant here. And so you can see all the flowers. I hope you can see that fairly well. All those flowers that have dried up now, that's what I'm going to be cutting. I'm going to be cutting that, and then I'm just going to be rubbing them between my fingers. I want to talk a little bit about what an invasive plant mint is. If you plant mint somewhere, I guarantee you 100% that that mint plant will take over. So please be extremely careful on where you plant it. I have it currently planted in a 4x4 box, and I purposely put it there because I thought that I would actually be happy if it was invasive in this box, because then we would have a lot of mint throughout the summer months. The other reason that I did it is I am going to be planting basil on the other side of this box, and basil is a very aggressively growing plant as well. So I thought between the two of them, they would battle it and maybe stay confined to the box. Now, let's fast forward, a season, and I've decided that I'm going to be doing a food forest and have decided that I want mint in my food forest, and I'm okay that it's an invasive plant. I'm actually going to be planting some of this mint on the edge of the food forest. And the reason I'm doing that is the food forest is going to be surrounded by grass area. So the front the front lawn is quite large, and it's going to take me years and years and years to really utilize the whole area, if that's what I decide to do. And so in the meantime, I've decided that I will plant this mint on the edge of the area, the space that I'm currently working on. So then that way, whenever we cut the grass around that food forest, any aggressive mint that decides it's going to creep into my grass area will just get mowed down, and it's fine. I'm fine with that. Okay, so I'm going to try my best to show you what the seeds look like, as well as remove the seeds from the pieces that I cut while I hold the camera. So you're really just going to rub your fingers, and the seeds are really, really small. Now I wonder if I get close enough if it will focus in. I'm not sure that you're going to be able to see it the way I can see it here. So again, you're just going to just pulling them off. Oh, and the smell that I have on my hands smells like very fresh mint. It's very cool. Now, I want you to also keep in mind that the germination rate for mint is, I think it's about 95%, which is why it's such an invasive plant. Not only is the root system very aggressive, but the seeds are also very aggressive in germination rates. Okay, it's as easy as that. Really, you're just going to cut the dried flowers off of the plant. You're going to make sure that you hold them over some kind of containers so that they don't blow away or get knocked off. They are extremely small. They're actually smaller than a lettuce seed, which I think is also very small. And so once you have them, you don't even need to set them out to let them dry, because they've already dried on the plant. You can actually place them right into a little envelope, write on it what it is, the date, and put them away for next season. And that's it. It's that easy. Okay, so you'll see here that our kohlrabi is ready. It's ready to be harvested. So we have the purple one, and we also have the white one. And it is pretty cool. So I'm actually going to pull out, oh, look at that nice big one. I'm going to start pulling out some of these, and then I'll bring you into the kitchen. Man, holy, look at the roots on it. That is crazy. Oh man, if any of you like the smell of rutabaga or turnip, that's what this smells like. But seriously, look at the roots. That's crazy. Let me see. Okay. And there's the other one. That's nuts. Okay. All right, I'm going to pull a couple more, and then I'm going to take you inside. I'm going to clean them up and start shredding them up. We're going to Put them in a bowl, finely sliced, and with a little bit of olive oil, and mix them all up. And then I'm going to put them onto a cookie sheet with the oven at 250 and leave them in there for about 35-40 minutes until they get nice and crispy, and add some salt. They're going to be delicious. For those of you that have never grown kohlrabi before, the leaves are an amazing benefit to this particular vegetable as well. I've used the leaves in salads. I've used the stem here. I've sauteed them up, or I've sliced them up really small and then sauteed them in a little bit of butter and garlic with a little bit of onions and carrots, and they were amazing. And so today we're going to actually use the vegetable. Now I'm going to cut everything off. I'm going to keep my leaves and my stems for using later, but I am actually going to remove the outer layer of this vegetable as well. It's a little bit tough and I don't want that to be part of my chips. So I'm going to get doing that and then bring you back. I learned a lesson today that I want to share with you. So I pulled 3 of the kohlrabis from my garden box today. Now one of them was significantly larger in length than the other 2. The other 2 were more round. And I thought it wouldn't be a big deal. I pulled them anyways. I wanted to make these kohlrabi chips, and I have a box full of kohlrabi, so I just thought, why not pull a few of them out? The problem is that I don't have a food processor, and I use the side of my shredder to slice them into the desired thickness that I need. Now, that's fine. It worked perfectly fine for the nice long one. I got a lot of chips out of that one. However, the other 2 were really, really tough. And the only thing I can think of is that they weren't ready. So even though I went out to the garden box and they looked fairly large, they just aren't ready yet. So one of them was bigger, it grew faster, it got more sun before the time change. I don't know what the answer is, but the other 2 didn't work for me. They were really too tough to use it on this. Now, if I had a food processor, I probably could have just sliced it up into halves and thrown them in there, and it would have done it for me. But you have to use what you have, and this is all I have right now. So not to worry, we still have enough here to make them. I am going to drizzle these with a little bit of olive oil, and then I'm going to add a little bit of my homemade onion and garlic powder onto it. And then I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of my pink Himalayan salt and give it a shake in the bowl. And then I'm going to sprinkle them out onto a cookie sheet, pop them in the oven for about 35-40 minutes. I'll keep my eye on it at 250. And then pull them out, let them sit for a little bit. I think I'm going to divide half of them and put half in one bowl, half in another bowl. And I think I'm gonna drizzle or sprinkle some vinegar on one set of chips to see if that is, if that tastes better than the other one. Okay, so they're all ready. I'm gonna grab these 2 bowls and head outside to our leaf compost area. My husband Derek is out there building the second part of it, and I want him to do the taste test. Question for you. Have you ever sowed your seeds inside and didn't label them and thought, I'll remember what side I put the yellow peppers on, and then it comes time to pot up and you forget? I can't remember which one has the vinegar in it. Okay, let's go. Babe, can you taste test these for me?
What is it?
You tell me.
Tasty. Salt, vinegar, onion. I got it right?
Yes. Do you like it?
Yeah, really good.
Thanks for spending time with me.